All right, so we're still working on the same worksheet that we were working on before, slopes and lines. Front of it looks like this. We've done 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're moving on to question 5 on the third page. And question 5 on the third page is saying on this graph, oops, disappeared. There we go. On this graph, draw a line that goes through this point, 0, 3, and has a slope of -3. This is actually a lot like question 4, except it's got a little something extra to it. But let's just start. Okay, so I gotta have it go through 0 and 3. So that means I'm gonna start by having the point at 0 for x, 1, 2, 3 for y. That's my point right there. And it has a slope of -3. Now a slope of -3, we saw in that last one, if you have just a single number like -3, you remember that if I write that as a fraction, that's really -3 over 1. Look there. There we go. So I have -3 over 1, which means a rise of -3 and a run of 1. Now a rise of -3, just to remind you, what that means is, a rise of -3 is I'm actually rising negatively. I'm going down 3. So if I have a rise of -3, that means I go down 3, and then my run of 1 takes me over 1. So that puts me at this point here. Let me do that again. A rise of -3, down 3, and a run of 1. Now, in a lot of these examples, you see me putting in more points than I need to put in. If I just have 2 points, that's already going to be enough for me to draw a line. But it's a good thing to put in more points. There's a few reasons for that. They're not really math reasons. They're more just human reasons. Because if I'm still getting to learn how slope works, then if I do it one time and I get it right, that's great. But maybe I made a mistake doing it the first time. I might have said rise of -3 and a run of 1. Now, some of you might see I only went down 2 instead of 3 there. So now if I say, well, I'm going to do that again, rise of -3 and a run of 1, I would have 3 points that wouldn't line up exactly. That would tell me something is wrong. So putting in more points is just a way to kind of cross-check yourself. So I've got down 3 and over 1. I've got my slope of -3. And now I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to line up my ruler so it's on the edge of the graph here. And I'm going to make it go all the way to the other edge, and my line will go directly through all of my points. It shouldn't be zigzagging around. If it does, that means I made a mistake. So now I've got this line, and it has a slope of -3. And it goes through this point, 0, 3. This is kind of an important point here, okay? Because since the x-coordinate is 0, so you might already see where I'm going with this. If I have the point on that line where the x-coordinate is 0, then that number here, that 3, the y-coordinate here, this point where it crosses the y-axis, that 3 is an important number because that's my y-intercept. And what it means is that if I wanted to write the equation for this line, we already know from previous questions that it's y equals the slope, which here is -3, times x plus something. Now that plus something in this case is going to be 3. And the reason why it's going to be 3 is because that's where this crosses the y-axis. If I know what the slope is, which here is -3, and I know where it crosses the y-axis, which here it does that right at y is at 3, then I can write the equation just like that. Right? And again, writing the equation, this is like me looking at a picture of those 5 guys in the room and saying, okay, if I'm just looking at this picture of the 5 guys, maybe there's a reason behind why it's these 5 guys in the picture. And then I realized that the reason is I'm showing everyone in class whose name starts with the letter A. Same thing going on here. If I have this equation, I look at it and I say, what is the rule behind why all these millions of dots are all connected to each other? Why is it those millions of dots and not some other dots over here? And I realized, well, every single dot on this line is a dot where if I take the x-coordinate and I plug it in here, then when I do the calculation, it'll give me the y-coordinate. Right? Like here, this point here, you can see what point this is here. This point is 1 and 0. If you look at that point, 1 and 0, you say, let me take the x and plug it in here, you'd say -3 times 1, well, -3 times 1 is -3. -3 plus 3 gives me 0, exactly like it told me it would. It tells me if I plug in 1 to my equation, I should get 0. And because I knew what the slope was here and what the y-intercept was, I was able to write that equation and see what the rule was.